We just saw If I Stay, and on this show I take my friends, we go see a movie, we do a review and a discussion afterwards here in the car. The review part is spoiler-free, so if you're on the fence and trying to decide if this is a movie you might want to go see, that's what this first part is for. The second part is a discussion, and it may contain spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, don't watch that part, but if you want to know what we thought, watch the little video. And if you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe. It helps us out quite a bit, makes us happy. This movie was pretty good. It was a teen drama, romance, had a lot of music influence in it. There's a lot of musicians and band-related things. A lot of times in movies, that really irritates me because I'm into music. But it didn't here. I thought it was fairly authentic and fairly well integrated into the story. And I also know that this is an adaptation of a book, so it has some legs to it where it feels more fleshed out than another, just a straight-up screenplay would feel. So, yes, you're looking at four guys that just went and saw a teen romance with an entire audience full of girls.
Prepubescent girls.
Less than half our age.
Annoying prepubescent girls.
And it was fine. It was fine. It didn't bother me so much. What'd you guys think?
Are we reviewing the girls or the movie?
Let's not review the girls.
Because they were annoying.
Yeah, don't go there.
Okay. It was awesome. I loved the movie because that type of movie's right in my wheelhouse.
Because you're a teenage girl.
Because I'm a teenage girl. No, I like my stories with a healthy dose of tragedy, and this definitely had it. I thought the screenplay was tight. I really liked how the wreck happened early. And everything else, the entire story was told in flashbacks.
Yeah, I mean, it's not chronological. They bounce around all over the place.
Yeah, I absolutely loved that.
Yeah.
The acting was good. You focused a lot on the two leads, but everybody had their part to play. The mother and the father really felt authentic. I just absolutely enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, for the intended audience, we were in a theater full of teeny boppers and lots of crying all over the theater, and they loved the ending and stuff, which is good. So for the intended audience, it obviously hit the mark. As a film, judging it as a film on its own, I wasn't so into it. For me, it's such an awesome premise. I love the premise. I just felt like as a filmmaking thing, it just didn't there was so many missed opportunities.
I agree with that.
It was just emotionally flat where it could have been there could have been such sharp moments, really, and it started to feel like a Hallmark Lifetime Channel movie for me. It felt like a TV movie in that it was just very cut and paste, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. There was never any suspense, although that's not fair because it is called If I Stay, so I never once thought she was going to go.
Right.
But I just thought there could have been so much intense moments that just they didn't emotionally resonate for me. So and there was one moment it almost got like that at the very end, but I felt like the whole movie should have been like that. I mean, we're talking life or death. We're talking impossible choices, and that emotional intensity wasn't there for me. But it definitely hit its mark with the intended audience. So I'm kind of torn on it. It's good, but I wish it was a little bit more for me.
I thought it was a little long for what it was. I mean,
yeah, very long, very slow.
Aaron, I know you said you thought the screenplay was tight, and I thought there were lots of parts where it was tight. And I thought that for the type of movie it was a very well done screenplay as far as the amount of flashbacks and everything.
Yeah.
But I think they could have cut a good 20 minutes out of it.
Sure,
for sure.
That was unnecessary. So that it kind of dragged in that way. I agree that it was a little bit flat. I mean, I think they could have. I wouldn't want to see this be overly sentimental and overly emotional just for the sake of appeasing the crying teenage girl audience who was going to cry no matter what you did anyway. But I also think that it was kind of there were times when it was just kind of I didn't really care. That being said, I thought the performances were good. I did not expect given the subject matter, the amount of humor, but the flashback scenes with her family was really damn funny.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very, very well done and much needed for this movie. And I think as the movie goes on, and without going into spoilers, just because of the types of flashbacks they show, where it focuses more on her romantic relationship, you see her family's less in the flashbacks, so there's a little bit less humor. I will also say on the topic of humor, the screenwriter and director seemed to think that the main character's best friend was this quirky, humorous character because they would give her these lines. And I don't think it was the actress. I just think that wasn't a funny character.
Yeah, I agree with that. So that's our basic review. Generally favorable. If you watched the trailer and you wanted to see this movie, you're going to be happy with it, I think. Getting into the discussion part, and this is where spoilers may come up, so there's the warning. As far as, like, you know, some of the shortcomings and that sort of stuff, kind of like what Cal was saying a little bit about, you know, feeling like the performances weren't quite there in some places, or that it didn't really hit as hard as it needed to. I felt like the parents, Morel Enos and
I'm not sure.
the father, I thought they were fantastic.
They were so good, yeah.
And Morel Enos is
that was
great
the
anyway.
whole family
She is
aspect. I
great.
thought was done really well. Like, you really did care about them. It felt like a real kind of family unit.
And for
was
what they were doing, like, I thought Chloe Grace Moretz was fine, but the boyfriend was not very good. He was good for, like, the romantic bits, but he never had, like, a real
yeah,
See,
kind of
kind of emotional.
I haven't thought that Chloe Grace Moretz was. I was not that impressed, and
She was pretty flat.
Any movie
I mean,
I've ever seen her in, I've never been able to say that. Even movies that weren't that great, like Dark Shadows, it's always been like, well, the one saving grace was Chloe Grace Moretz, but this one it was just kind of like that could have been anybody. In fact, I forgot halfway through that it was even her, and then at the end it was like, oh yeah, that's her.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I thought it could have been better. I thought that the performances, or just the actors in general, could have been stronger in those characters. And then you get someone like Stacy Keach into the thing, and he just demolishes everybody. Like, he has 2 or 3 scenes, and he completely demolishes every other performance.
Basically, if you are in this movie and the character you're playing is over the age of 18, meaning that you are an actor over the age of 30, you do really well in this movie.
Yeah.
If your character is under the age of 18, which basically means you are in real life under the age of 30, you're really boring.
Yeah. And the other thing that's kind of weird about all of this, and like talking about it being a book and an adaptation and it being sort of a teen novel, most of the time they sort of set that up so that it's not so that you're supposed to feel like you're part of the story. You're supposed to like have that person surrogate for you.
Yeah.
So we were supposed to, as an audience, feel like we were watching what Chloe Grace Moretz's character was watching, what Mia, what her character was seeing. And so that's not a very good excuse, but that is why a lot of those performances kind of come across as flat and
Is it my imagination or
Observational.
'cause as she's walking around as a disembodied soul, it kind of like, and this is more of a filmmaking thing where they didn't make it feel like it was the person sitting on the operating table or on the hospital bed. Like I kept thinking like, oh, that's like a different person. Like I feel like at times it could have maybe been from the point of view of the body like it didn't feel like a coma. She felt like it wasn't her going through that.
I mean, that was just the whole
Just
premise
the way
was
they
her.
presented it, like
Because it was weird, like
it was disjointed at times for me.
Actually, I mean, that versus them shooting it as like a POV.
Right.
Like, I would rather see her walking around as like the ghost versus
Yeah.
It'd be like this POV thing where she
No, I don't mean
kinda-
that. I mean like at times maybe focusing a little more on the body on the table, so it constantly grounds us to this person's in a coma. Because at times I just thought like she was this ghost walking around rather than like it wasn't always tied into. Especially since there was flashback after flashback, I felt like they needed to kept coming back to that kind of home base thing of
Right.
and it just felt that made it feel just a little disjointed. for
It
me.
also pulls all of the teeth out of everything for, I mean, even in the trailer, they say, you know, this is all up to you. Mm-hmm. And like,
Yeah, because
well,
ultimately it was her struggle and her choice.
it was
and
her choice.
I felt like by not concentrating sometimes on the her body, like having a fight, like it kind of took away a lot of the you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
There were.
I know
there
what
were
you're
a
saying, 'cause,
couple-
like-
I don't know how to word it.
Because
It's
like
just-
you can't see that like she's perfectly fine in the ghost form.
Yeah.
So you don't.
Exactly. Yes. So
That's
that made
the
me
issue.
feel like she was more an observer rather than the active fighter in the story.
Like
you
she
know?
needed to look weaker or you
Yeah.
know, more drained or
There were a couple things, you know, going off what y'all were talking about, Chloe Grace Moretz and her performance. I thought, depending on who she was in the scene with, she played up to who she was in the scene with. Like the scene with her and Stacy Keach at the end. Fantastic.
yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Both of them delivered excellent. In fact, every scene
Yeah,
they
that was a
ran
good
together
moment.
was amazing. She was good with her parents. Her and the boyfriend clicked, but it was your typical romance. Some things I found interesting in the movie, just filmmaker wise, is you know, typically with you know the disembodied spirit type thing, you never see them interact with anything, but you actually see her touch people.
Yeah, she touches.
And I thought that was a very interesting choice. She touches the door. She can't go through the door. You know, so to me, that made it seem like she's grounded here. Like
They
she
also
was a
didn't play the
character.
game of she doesn't know what's happening and she walks through somebody. Like they didn't do that whole trope.
Yeah.
Although
She
they did-
immediately knew that she was disembodied.
They did play one game a little bit because I know we can say spoilers here, but I won't go into too big a
That's
spoiler.
okay.
But they had the scene right after the accident where she's walking around, and then something happens to her there, but we don't see it, and she doesn't remember it until later in the hospital.
That's right.
Which
Yeah.
was kind of an interesting trick that they played. Okay, go ahead.
What I was gonna say to you, Cal, the fact that you know there wasn't much suspense. I was fairly certain from the start that she was going to stay. I mean, it's a romance movie. Of course, she's going to stay. And then her brother, and that
That surprised
So
you.
that threw it up in the air
that
for you.
threw it up. I was
Yeah.
like, oh my god, you know, I did not see that happening.
Yeah.
That completely caught me off guard, and I was from that point I was absolutely hooked. I was just like,
yeah.
what is she gonna do?
And I mean, that's
why I thought it should have ended on the whiteout. Leave it open. Instead, they come back. And,
well, I think people would have interpreted the whiteout as she died.
yeah, I
They would have
guess.
too, yeah.
I would have.
Because especially
Yeah.
since she was walking into the white light.
Yeah, and you know, the boyfriend finally got the chance to have a really good scene with his song, and at that point, they decide to give it all to her life flashing before her eyes.
Here's how they could have ended it though. And still they could have done the white flash, but then as the white flash was there, they could have had the boyfriend's voiceover and just him asking Mia,
That would have been amazing.
because that would have been like, is he asking because she's gone, or is he asking because she looks like she's
That's
waking up?
yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Or even like blend the voice of the boyfriend with the voice of her dad or something, and make
Yeah.
it like totally ambiguous. Like who was?
And that makes for an interesting movie ending, but as a book ending, that doesn't
Sure,
really work.
yeah.
So
And it's
since it's an adaptation,
It's
Yeah.
and it's an adaptation of the first part of a trilogy of books. So
Oh, it is.
yes, I
Ah.
found that out last night actually.
I was not
so
aware.
they missed the opportunity to do "Should I Stay or Should I Go" by the Clash.
Yes.
Even though this was like all about punk rock music.
There were tons of Clash posters.
They never threw out the Smiths' "Girlfriend in a Coma." I thought
Oh,
that
that
would
would
have
be so
been
good.
that would have been worth it. But
That may have been a little bit too much over the top.
I do like the fact that you know the choice of what instrument that she played, because in my book there's always room for cello.
Hey,
That's
hey
pretty
guys,
cool. Yeah.
I've got a question. I want you guys to think about that. I may or may not prove a point here. I probably won't, but I'm going to do it anyway. I want you guys to think about this for a second. Then I'm going to count to 3, and I want you to all give an answer. Okay?
Okay.
So think about this. How much time went by between the car accident and the end of the movie? So think about it. I'm going to count to 3, and on 3, say it. What you think? 1, 2, 3.
A
About 48 hours.
Day, 48 hours. I had no concept of how much time was going by because
how much time passed in the
it
movie.
was-
Yeah, I
that
thought it was days until the boyfriend said today.
right. I
I
thought
thought,
it
what?
was
It's all the same day?
I thought it was like
That
I thought
was
it was like
very
weeks
confusing.
because of the
Yeah.
amount of people that they showed going in. Then it was like, really? That was all the time that's gone by?
Well, I mean, it shows them out on the rooftop, and it's night, and
Yeah.
then it's clearly the next day when he's talking to her. So at least one day has
Yeah.
passed. So,
But they
I-
kept having. They
I
had
don't know
that
if
whole
was a
parade
screw
of
up or
people who
what.
went through that, and I mean, I'm sure they all would have come the same day. But it felt like they were showing that a lot of time had passed because
Yeah.
I think like the grandparents in particular would not have just left her side within the first 24 hours once everything had happened to the rest of the family. So
Yeah, God,
it was just really kind of that was just the
interesting.
time thing was just really kind of weird. It threw me.
Yeah, all over the place.
yeah.
Talking about time, how long was that movie? It felt very, very long, but like how, do you know the running time?
I don't know. I went into a
was-
coma in the middle of it.
It was probably just under 2 hours.
Uh,
That's what I would say. Like probably an hour and 45, hour
We
and
got-
50.
felt
I didn't
longer.
note what time it started, but or what time the actual movie started. But the movie was supposed to. The start time was 7:15, not counting previews and everything. We got out of there at 9:15, so
Okay.
probably
So,
about an hour.
Yeah, it's an hour and 45 minutes because there's always 15 minutes of
It
trailers.
feels long.
Yeah, it did feel longer.
Yeah, I'm surprised you got any coma time at all with those girls sighing at
Yeah,
every
there were some-
kiss. At every kiss.
No, actually, there was one who would sigh at every kiss and one who would go, porn. I don't think she really knows what that word means.
No, not yet. Not yet. Well, I mean, I thought we were going to get arrested for being there.
Why is it so humid in here all of a sudden? Oh, sorry. That's our review for
Yeah, we'll leave it on that.
If I
gotta
Stay. Hope you enjoyed our review. Please like us, subscribe to us. Check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com. Thanks for watching.
And if you have a choice, stay.
But we're leaving. Bye.